So this one is called Casa de Arcio. Thank you for helping me out on that. I was a little bit worried.
And,
so this is a Tempranillo, correct?
Yes, it's Tempranillo, and the name, this is on premise, so this is only sold in restaurants. And casa means, in Spanish, means house, and arcilla means clay, and thus house of clay. So it actually does say clay house.
Very clever. That's great. So what can you tell us about Tempranillo?
Well, Tempranillo is it's a grape from Spain. That's where its roots are, and it's a very very firm, well-structured wine. It has some nice plum flavors and some earthiness. I think it's a great food wine because it doesn't, although it has good tannic structure, it doesn't really dominate, and it goes fairly well with a lot of different foods, I think.
Absolutely. So in the order we've been tasting, it seems like there's a trend. We're going from a little bit, well, whites first, and then a little bit of lighter wines to a little bit of darker. Now, I assume this is done on purpose?
Yes. So the chef and I paired the food with the wine, and in basically kind of increasing power of the wines with the increasing power of the foods. It's something you wouldn't want to match a really light wine with a big, heavy, say, barbecued rib. It just wouldn't stand up. So depending on the flavors that you have in the food, you really want to match them with the strength of the wines. And that's really important in pairing foods with wine.
Right, and the idea to taste a lighter wine first so that when you go to the heavier one, it blends well, as opposed to if you did it reverse, you might overpower the lighter wine. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's nice because your palate sometimes gets fatigued, and so you don't want it to fatigue early. And as we were discussing about the acidity of the wines, really what you want to do is, for the example, going back to the Sauvignon Blanc, it has a nice acid that kind of cuts the flavor or the fat that was in the salmon, so you can almost taste it again for the first time.
Right.
And really that's the goal of the wines, is not to be overpowering of what you're eating, but just enough to kind of cut it so you can taste it again for the first time. And your whole meal should really be like that.
Yeah, enjoyment, a whole culinary experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, and one of the things I really enjoy about the Central Coast wines in general is this natural, fresh acidity. And I think the region, the grapes here just promote that, and it goes so well with food. And so with this one, the Tempranillo, you have paired a Carpaccio. Mm-hmm. How exciting.
Yeah, well, we decided to do a beef with it, but nothing too strong or too overpowering because it's not such a huge red wine, So we just went with a little a Chive beet, which I find to be wine-friendly. It's one of the sweeter beets. It's an Italian beet.
Okay.
A little Dijon Aeoli and just a little flake of Parmesan Reggiano as well. So just kind of my little twist on a classic Italian version, just to go with one of my favorite wines from Clayhouse. Personally, it's a wonderful wine. So
that's wonderful. And the beet is very pretty as well. It's not your typical all over red color. It seems to have a bit of striping of red and white. Visually very exciting.
Sometimes we call that like a candy cane beet. Sometimes it's a joke in the restaurant. And it just goes. It's a wine friendly beet. So I thought it'd go good. Add a little more color to the Carpaccio and have a little fun with it,
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the idea behind wine and food pairings, is really to have fun. And, the whole point of the show is to sort of demystify some of those ideas out there and not make it scary for people. And I think the pairings you've done so far are fantastic. And I would definitely encourage people to go down to the Paso Robles Inn Steakhouse and try some of these foods and enjoy a meal. Go to the bar and have some of that lavender infused drinks. Yeah. That sounds wonderful.